right, Lauren, welcome to the podcast, episode 229. It's a pleasure to
Ooh,
have you here. How you doing?
doing great, thanks. Um, just showing you a quick demo of the Ukraine Defense Fund. We put up a monitoring dashboard as well. If people want to go and investigate, where the funds came from, where the funds are going on our investigation tool.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want me to show it now or in a little bit?
Oh, we can do it in a bit after we talk
Okay.
about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
When we bring it up, just go ahead and share screen and I'll throw it up.
great.
Um, Before we do, tell me a bit more about yourself. I'm sure people are kind of curious, interested in, not just who you are, but what you've done, what your past is like, and how you kind of got into this wonderful, crazy world of crypto and blockchain.
Yeah, it's been a crazy life. I always like to start to say I entered Bitcoin not by, or crypto, not by the date, but by what the price of Bitcoin was, which
Hmm.
was $4. So that was about 2012. And, back then it was just right place, right time. I was around Silicon Valley, going to the Bitcoin meetups when Brian was starting Coinbase. Charlie had just started his exchange, and it was back in the day when not a lot of people were talking about it. And since then, it's always just my group of friends. They've always been in it. I've done quite a few different crypto projects, from one of the first POS systems to accept Bitcoin. That was in 2013. To I built a Bitcoin remit system that helped facilitate remittances from Canada to Philippines. And then in 2018, built some trading tech. Of course, arbitraging was all the rage back then. Uh,
Hmm.
and then, yeah, that eventually led me into what became Breadcrumbs.
Nice, nice. Yeah, arbitrage, just touching on that for a second, is crazy. I know a lot of people used to make a lot of money on it. It's so much more difficult now with all the money and the players that are in the space. But yeah, that was a big thing back in the past. I remember the POS systems. I remember how cheap
Mm.
Bitcoin used to be at. Now that it's like 40 grand, no one really thinks about it. But yeah, when it was like under $100, that was a crazy point in time. That was so long ago. It feels like, at least.
That
Um,
was, and like that jump from like $10 to $100 just happened in,
mhm.
I don't know, a month or something.
And that was considered insane back then.
It was. I think the big instigator of that was Cyprus. If you remember
Yeah.
that, back in, it was like 2013, and there was like
Hmm.
2 weeks where the entire country couldn't get access to their funds.
Oh, yes, that's right. The banking crisis in Cyprus. I remember that. That
Yeah,
was, wow, forgot about that.
yeah. And then it was even crazier. Like, then there were a bunch of people who did like DDoS attacks on all the crypto exchanges.
Hmm.
Like they pumped up the price to like $200, and then they did all these DDoS attacks. And once they released the DDoS attacks, they had dumped on the market,
Hmm.
sold at a much higher price, and then the price dropped to like about 80 or something.
Yeah, the craziest things were happening back then. The Mount Gox exchange being hacked, and you had Bitcoin swinging from, 100, couple $100 to like 12, 1300, and
Hmm.
that was considered insane. Now it does that every single day, like every,
Yeah,
couple hours.
yeah. That's why it's like, a lot of the OGs, a lot of the people in the space today they're already like desensitized. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, 10% loss today. Okay.
Yeah. If you've been around this long and then you do get a little desensitized by it because you're used to it, the volatility, you just accept it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's all part of the course.
So what about crypto and blockchain made you want to get into the analytical side of this space with breadcrumbs?
The analytics, it was more just to solve a personal problem.
Hmm.
So after I'd done the crypto trading stuff, I had invested a lot of my personal funds and family funds into an ICO. And like most people back in 2018 was scammed.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so, I'd been around the space for a while. I knew that, I could go and trace the flow of money and prove out who took the funds. So I went to the incumbents, who provide investigation tools, But their response back was, sorry, it's only for law enforcement, or 30,000 is all your license fee. And I'm trying to recover my family's money. I'm trying to help recover funds for all the investors. And I have to pay 30K just to, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, I realized, you know what, this is my next startup. I'm going to build this tool myself to solve my own personal problem, and always make sure that there's a free version available so that everybody has access to these tools. Because these investigation and monitoring tools, they're extremely powerful. And what it comes down to is the nature of our industry is, law enforcement, the people that are there to help protect us, they only have the resources to, investigate $100 million plus frauds.
Mm-hmm.
About 50 million, 20 million fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So the onus is on us to help protect ourselves, and that's the whole concept behind Breadcrumbs. We're making the industry a safer place by giving everyone access to these tools. Because before us, it's just less than 1% of people in the space have access to these tools.
Were you ever able to solve that personal problem you had?
Uh, Sort of, basically through trading.
Got it.
Yeah,
Well, that's
but
good.
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but those people are still out there, and that's part of my mission is, you know, it's if we empower everyone in the community to have access to these tools, we can start weeding out the people that, are just, there's zero accountability. It's just
Mm-hmm.
too easy to commit illicit activity in this space.
Yeah, it's way too easy. The scammers get more brilliant every single day. I got to hand it to them. The way they go about spamming people or scamming them and getting them to send them money or making promises or having bad ICOs or,
Hmm.
it's, I got to give it to them. They're very creative. They come up with new ways to get people. It's a little
Absolutely.
concerning sometimes.
And the way you combat that is not by trying to get more money for law enforcement. It's
Hmm.
by improving education and giving all the access to the tools so people know how to protect themselves.
Exactly. Totally agree. What are some of the use cases you guys have been able to put together with Breadcrumbs to maybe solve some of these problems, or maybe what are some of the partnerships you guys have put together?
So along the way, I originally built it just to solve my own personal problem,
Hmm.
and that took a good year, a year and a half, just to build. It's a very technically challenging product to build. But along the way, we encountered a lot of other people who are in a similar position, including two separate frauds over $100 million. Even though there should be law enforcement involved, they're not good enough because, it's one thing that law enforcement is there, but the knowledge and education that the community has, the resources that the community has is significantly further advanced, right?
Hmm.
Because the technology advances so quickly. Even the education for law enforcement is still so far behind. But we have our community of people that are they've got lots of time, and they care. Um, so some of the use cases, they range from just people coming to use our tools just out of curiosity, just to see like, hey, who are these people that I'm interacting with, or hey, the Bitfinex hack occurred, or the people were arrested from the Bitfinex thing.
Hmm.
Hey, let's see if I can personally just trace the flow of funds, go through the same process the investigators went through. That information is available. It's all public. And we help provide that information as well if you want to come and out of curiosity, see the work. Other people also use us for due diligence. They're about to get into a transaction with someone. They want to see like, hey, who is this, or what have they been doing? We do have a lot of people using it after some sort of illicit event, like a big hack, a scam. Of course, our most famous sleuth is Zach XBT, and he posts a lot of his his reports that he's created using our investigation tools on Twitter. And then that's more the retail side of things. That's individuals like you and I. But you'd be surprised. There's also like small businesses, small crypto businesses that they don't have the means to pay the 30K, 50K fee to start monitoring transactions. Hey, they're providing some sort of financial service. They're a startup. They just raised a seed round. They can't shell out that much money just to start playing. So we provided a compliance software, compliance transaction monitoring tools that help bring awareness. As you move funds through your system, is there any illicit funds going through there? Are you at risk of facilitating money laundering? And where that starts at $300 a month. Something more reasonable for someone trying to innovate on the blockchain.
Yeah, $300 is a lot cheaper than $30,000. That's for sure.
Exactly. And so this all feeds into our whole mission of making crypto safer by providing access to these investigation and monitoring tools. It's not just the price point; it's also the access to the tools. But also, if you start using our tools, you'll realize you don't need to have a data science degree to understand what's going on. You don't need to go through a 2-week training course to learn how to use them. And so that's, that friction is also extremely important for access.
How difficult is it to track things with these tools? Or I guess what can the tools tell you other than, maybe where funds have moved? Can you get information about a receiver or a sender or location details? Or how specific can you get?
So that's another key part of what we've built. It's not just a matter of building these tools, but we've also added attribution data. So essentially tying an identity or some sort of characteristics to an address. You don't see 0x555. You'll see in our tools, it's a Binance address. And so that provides context around what's actually happening in this flow of funds or in this transaction. That's the first thing. The second thing, more around our compliance offerings. We plug into private data sources. We spent a lot of time going around and collecting illicit addresses, whether it's tied to terrorist financing or human trafficking, dark markets, stuff like that. So we've invested a lot of time and resources into building up those data sets so that with our tools, we can provide those context around it.
Yeah, an idea I had. Have you guys thought about maybe creating some kind of tool or something like an extension that can go into like your Chrome browser or something like that that could tell you if certain addresses are illicit addresses or dangerous addresses because they've been associated with bad activity? That would be kind of cool.
Absolutely. So it's kind of funny you mentioned that. We did the reverse. We launched that
Okay.
before we even launched the monitoring tools. So there is a Chrome extension out there. We've parking lotted it for now because we've recognized that our investigation and monitoring tools have a much greater need from the marketplace.
Gotcha. It's a really interesting tool idea though, because there's so many back to the scammers and the people that are spamming you, and you have no idea for sure if an address they give you is right or if you legitimately someone and you have to pay something like an invoice or you're paying for a good or service. How do you know for sure that they sent you the right address? Or it'd be
Absolutely.
kind of cool to know if that address has ever at any point in time been used for illicit activity, and then lower that risk a little bit, verify addresses.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's coming back. We're gonna. I'm pretty sure the Chrome extension is still there. We just, you know, we're planning on revisiting it to beef it up even further. Um,
Nice.
yeah,
I know you also mentioned you guys have tools where you're tracking analytics for things like the Ukrainian crypto fund and raising money for there. Maybe we can talk about that for a second, or you can share your screen and show people because that stuff is really
sure.
interesting too.
Yeah, why don't I do that? It's not just a matter of, hey, you go on a blockchain explorer and you kind of have to be and very technical to make sense of what's going in and out.
Hmm.
Uh, our monitoring dashboard provides just one dashboard for an entire entity. An entity is actually made up of multiple addresses, whether it's in Bitcoin or ETH or
Hmm.
whatever other blockchains. So here's an example, the Ukraine Defense Funds. Obviously, they've been raising a lot of money over the past week or so. So just in one simple dashboard, we can see, hey, what's their current balance? They're currently holding $5.7 million in their donation addresses, just in ETH, and then in Bitcoin, it's $500,000. You can also see there's about 2.7 million in tokens. That's like USDC, USDT. And yeah, in real time, 60 minutes ago, someone donated from Poloniex,
Hmm.
some about $2,500 in Tether.
Are you able to share that screen?
Oh, oh, do you not see my screen right now?
Not
Oh,
yet.
shoot.
There should be a share button, or oh wait, there you
Okay.
go.
Sorry. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
So yeah, just in one dashboard, you can see
Hmm.
we're tracking these two addresses, their ETH address and then their Bitcoin address. So we can see like what their balance is. If you ever want to just export the last, 300 transactions to CSV. And so yeah, in real time, somebody donated from crypto.com, $75. In the same dashboard, you can see Bitcoin transactions rolling in, some ETH. Um, and so that kind of gives you like more of a real time. Hey, what's sort of the last couple hours of transactions that have occurred, from Coinbase. But then you can also expand to our investigation tool. You can search the Ukrainian government defense fund from our investigation tool. And these are the kind of things that I mentioned, like we made it very easy and simple for people to consume the data. You don't need a data science degree to understand what's going on. So
Hmm.
just as something as simple, you look up this address um, in our search bar. Any address you look up, it always ends up right here in the middle. Everything on the left are incoming addresses. So these are addresses that have sent mostly funds into the Ukrainian government. And everything to the right is where the funds went, outgoing addresses. And so this very much helps answer the question, where did the money come from? Where did the money go? Um, and so obviously, these are we also sort it from top to bottom, the largest donations. So this address here sent 670 ETH, which is, 1.8
Hmm.
million.
Jeez.
Um, yeah, and you can click on any path and see, oh, okay. And as we go down the line from 1.8 million, to about half of that, a million. And so this is just the ETH. Hey, what did they do with the ETH? Well, they sent the funds into Kuna.io exchange. Looks like they also sent a lot of their ETH into, um, this address here. Let's expand that out a bit. Okay, and you can start to see, like, yeah, some of it went into Binance, Finex, Kuna as well. And this address here seems interesting. Okay, it's actually been active since October 23rd, 2020. So they've probably been using that. Um, oh, sorry. That's the Kuna one. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and so that's probably the Ukraine Defense Fund's deposit account on Kuna. But this one here, yeah, they've been using since January 21st, 2021. Um, and so there's quite a lot of tools here. This is just for Ethereum. Hey, let's say we want to only isolate down to USDC. Okay. Well, let's go here. We'll isolate down to USDC. Apply. Okay. And so now we can see, who's made donations in USDC. Looks like, something came from this address. How much did they send? Okay, 131,000 USDC. It's quite a bit. Some funds from these ENS addresses. And keep in mind, the default here, we only show like the top 10 addresses. Just, so that we make it easy to, consume the data. But if you really want to like see more than 10 addresses, we can expand that out.
Can you see regionally where funds have come from?
We don't have that yet.
Okay.
For entities, it's more the jurisdiction type stuff. That's more for our compliance offering.
Got it.
That comes into more like ensuring you're not interacting with an address that came from a sanctioned country like Syria or North Korea. Yeah. And so it's quite a powerful tool and pretty simple, just to kind of get started.
What other blockchains can you track outside of Ethereum? Or is it mostly primarily for Ethereum right now?
So we support Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, and all tokens on top of Polygon and Ethereum.
Nice. Can you track NFT transfers or sales?
So if we do this podcast 1 week later, it's just on our sprints right now. It should be coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to come on again and show you that integration.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I can show you. I'll show you in the NFTs already, but yeah, we created like a dashboard just for like Snoop Dogg, or for like some
cool.
famous people on OpenSea, stuff like that.
That's super cool.
These are all public dashboards, like people can come. The other big one that people love to see is the microsystems one. The MicroStrategy. So when they're buying Bitcoin, what they're doing with their Bitcoin. Yeah.
What are they doing with their Bitcoin? Is there any info on that?
They're mostly just buying in smaller chunks. You can kind of see, like, this looks like it was, a few days ago, 4 days ago. They probably bought some, $500,000 here. Sometimes they buy out of Coinbase. Kind of got to scroll back. Yeah, it's usually when Bitcoin is pretty low.
Yeah, that's so cool. Could this be scaled down to something much smaller, like a company wanting to use it for accounting purposes, or a politician wanting to use it for a campaign, or something on just much smaller scale?
Absolutely. We're starting to get DAOs, starting to use it just for their own, kind of keeping track of funds, or keeping track of who's sending what, or who's spending what. Of course, I mentioned, the crypto sleuths in the community. We have some like accounting, like crypto accounting firms that are using us. And then, there's quite a few like companies that use it just for like tracing, whether they're helping people who've lost money, or trying to make sense of, hey, what happened here.
Nice. I feel like there's so many different uses for this.
So many
ways you could apply it. This is really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
Being able to map out in tree where these transactions are coming from, where they're going, know more details about it. That's very valuable.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And our job, like what we keep iterating on, is trying to make the data consumable and make these tools easy enough to use, because that feeds back into the whole accessibility.
Hmm.
And the easier it is for people to use, the more people, the everyday person can use it, and the more safer our industry becomes.
Exactly. Let me ask you one more final question, then we'll start wrapping it up.
Sure.
What is your guys's what does your roadmap look like for the rest of the year? What do you guys that you can talk about that you're planning on rolling out, or you want people to be aware of, or that you're excited about?
Definitely the NFTs. That's coming out, in the next week or so. Definitely by, sometime in March.
Hmm.
So NFT support, being able to see NFTs moving from person to person, moving from address to address. The other thing we're looking at helping with is, you'd be surprised, but there's so many companies that are going out and selling NFTs,
Hmm.
and they don't they fall below that threshold. They're SMBs, like they fall below that 30K threshold. So we've also been beefing up our compliance offering to support them. So we're
Hmm.
looking at channel partners to do that.
Got it.
Some other stuff. Trying to think here. Yeah, I mean those are the main things. Um, and really, we just want to help build awareness, and help all these, everyone in the industry be able to be a sleuth for themselves.
Nice. Where can people go to learn more? Just the website? Do you guys have a blog? Do you have a community?
Yeah, so it's
Hmm.
www.breadcrumbs.app.
Hmm.
It's really that simple. On there, we also have, people in the community make public reports. They share reports publicly of just different events. And so you can kind of see like what other people are sharing with the community. Uh, and it's a good basis to just get started. Actually, here's always the best first one that people love to do is, when they hear of our tool, they're like, oh, I wonder what my friends are doing. And they just start popping in their friends' addresses and see like, oh, what kind of stuff can I see on them?
People are so creepy.
Yeah. Well, we don't want it to be a creepy tool, but I mean, it's all
Yeah.
public information.
Yeah.
So if anything, it improves awareness that, hey, this is also, we've had people do this of like, they'll go and do some coin joins. They'll come use our tool and see like how private is their funds
Hmm.
after a coin join.
Right. That's smart too. I mean, if you're trying to be more private and, you believe in
Hmm.
anonymity a little bit and some privacy, then yeah, it's probably a good idea to use a tool, test that out, see if
Hmm.
you can pull things up. So yeah, I can see a use case
Yeah.
there.
And there's the whole concept, don't trust, verify.
Hmm.
So our tool helps you verify. You can go and read an article on like, this hack happened with Wormhole or whatever,
Hmm.
or this whatever DeFi platform. You can take it, by the word of what they say on the coin, on the article, or you can also just pop in the hacker's address on our site and verify.
Nice.
So we have a lot of people doing that to verify and, out of curiosity.
Are you on social media? Can people find you online?
Yeah, certainly. My handle is Lorne, and our company handle is app Breadcrumbs.
Cool. Guys, go follow Lorne. Go check out Breadcrumbs. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. Lorne, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. Really appreciate it. Fantastic conversation. Really like it. I think there's some things that I could use it for myself too. So maybe we'll have another talk later on.
Yeah, certainly. Appreciate the time.
You too. Likewise. Talk soon. Have a good day. See you
Thanks.
later.